me from the Dimitra K Show, and of course, I have my own podcast, The Donovan Sadiq Show. And well, this is where all the magic happens. I actually have a studio in San Bernardino, but the COVID kind of shut all that down because the studio is something we have it there, but it's a shared studio. It has all the stuff, all the bells and all the whistles you're going to need to do an actual production. So we're going to get back into that when all this is figured out. And it's funny, you give them all that money to rent the space and to use the studio, and COVID hits. Nobody talks about returning your money. So that's kind of one of the funny things about that. But no big deal, because I built a little studio in my garage there, and it's too cold right now to use it. So I bring a lot of this stuff in, and as you see behind me here, this is the green screen that I have here. And then in the other room there's a blue screen, and that's my desktop computer. And I use this one when I'm watching basketball or something, because I have my big screen here, so I kind of like to watch that. But, a little bit about us. I actually got involved in politics in I guess 2014 would be it, because there was a lot of things going on in my city in regards to corruption. And it's still going on to this very day. Excuse me, I'm just trying to catch a breath. It's still going on to this very day. And the biggest bribe in FBI history happened in Moreno Valley, California, of a public official. And it was $2.3 million. This idiot sat in public. I don't know why that thing's doing that, but this idiot sat in public, and they put $2.3 million on a table at a restaurant in Temecula, California. And they got it all on camera and stuff. People think I'm exaggerating when I say that, but that's actually how I ended up getting into politics. And as I was watching the public channel, because I wasn't one that would usually have time to go to city council, but once I retired out of the military, I found myself sitting here and just doing stuff that I normally wouldn't have done. And I had heard about all this commotion that was going on in city council, and I turned on the channel one day, and I actually saw it on TV. And I thought this was like a clown show. I mean, it was just, people were yelling, people were screaming. It was an unbelievable situation. And so one day I called my friend Dimitra, and Dimitra and I go back to high school. Actually, Dimitra and, here's a funny story. Dimitra, the very first person I met when I was in my senior year of high school was Dimitra's sister, her younger sister. And her sister was a freshman and I was a senior, and I'm sitting on the quad because I'm kind of pissed off of being there, because I really only had to go to school because of government. I needed one class to go to school to graduate. And so I'm sitting there waiting, because I ended up joining the military. My mom actually had to sign me into the military because I was underage. I was still 17. And I joined the military, I think March 22nd or something like that. But long story short, 2 days after high school graduation, I was in the Air Force. So I meet Dimitra's sister, and she's talking to me. She's an underclassman. You know how that goes. You don't want to deal with the underclassmen like that. And but she was a very friendly spirit, stuff like that. And I had to take government, and I was in a class with her brother, Dimitra's brother, Walter. And at the time, that was when the different world thing is. So he had that swag of the Dwayne Wayne thing going on, and we're young kids. I still have my Jerry curl. For a lot of you people that don't know, I had a Jerry curl, and long Jerry curl. The girls were jealous. Okay, the girls were that. Now remember, that was a long time ago. Okay, a lot of us that had Jerry curls, we look like this now. So anyway, and I had seen Dimitra in passing and stuff, and we have a lot of the same mutual friends. And so I get out, I see this melee going on in the city of Moreno Valley, and I actually end up calling Dimitra, and I say, hey, let's could you come to this thing with me? And she ended up going, and we just looked at each other. And one thing that I knew about Dimitra was she's into PR, public relations. So she was really, really good at what she does. And, that whole family was, I always looked at Walter and her brothers, Professor Smitty. I always looked at them as exceptional. These were like exceptional Black people. They there was just something different about how they carried themselves. They always carried themselves with a sense of knowledge of self. It wasn't like me. People say that I carry myself very arrogantly, but I always tell people, why is it that when a Black man is confident, it's arrogance, and when a white man is arrogant, it's confident? And then what I did in the military, flying airplanes and stuff. Do you want to fly with somebody who's scared, or do you want a guy that's like got the swag, like I've been there, done that, no problem, whatever? And that's how they teach. It's part of the training. You got to be confident if you're going to fly airplanes. So I was always highly impressed with them. And I came back and I called her up and I said, hey, look, I'm thinking about running for office and I need, polishing. Basically, I need, I'm an okay speaker, but I'm not a great speaker. Put it like this. Lights, camera, action, I can speak. There's no problem. Like right now, I even hear myself doing the redundancy of how I talk, But the funny thing is, this is me relaxed in how I'm supposed to be. I want to talk in a way where people are like, yeah, he's an average guy, whatever. But when it's lights, camera, action, I change it up and I'm a little bit more Queen's English, right diction, do what I have to do. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you guys know this, if I CLEPT, which is college level examination program where you challenge courses. I CLEPT over 120 hours worth of courses, which means, I studied on my own and I just took the test and I passed, and they give you a college credit in regards to that subject or whatever. And I passed just about all of them. I mean, so much so that the Air Force thought I was cheating and there was something major going on that I was a part of or about to start, because they couldn't understand why I would come in there during the lunch hours and I would just start taking these CLEPs. And if you look at my CLEP testing regimen, every base has a code where you take these tests. And I was taking a test in Korea one day, and then I'd be in Okinawa another day, then Alaska, then my home base. Everywhere I went, I CLEPT. And there was a reason for that, but that's another story, because I had to hurry to get my degree. But so I called her up and I said, I'm thinking about running for office. And so, I got her and, off we went. But lo and behold, I did not know that I would be fighting major money and the major Democratic Party, because at that time I was still a Democrat. And, I'm thinking, well, I'm a Democrat, this is an open election. Everybody's going to get a piece of the money. They're going to support, the strongest Democrat that comes out of that, right? But no, they had already handpicked their candidate and they didn't want anybody else in there. And in the election that I was in, it was actually a recall election. And I noticed nobody else had threw their hat in the ring against this one lady named LaDonna Jimson. And she worked with the Democratic Party of Moreno Valley. So she had already been preordained and selected to run. And so when I jumped into the race, nobody had ever heard of me before. And of course, you wouldn't hear of me. I'm not necessarily new. I've always been a resident of Moreno Valley, even before it was Moreno Valley, because we came here in the late 70s. And, we were the original owners of our home. So, and I'm a child of a baby boomer, so I wouldn't be in that circle of these people that have children that are my age. So of course you wouldn't know me. I don't run in your circles. So anyway, we run in the election, and this lady had been preordained, and I get on the ballot, and they have a shit fit. I get calls from the Democratic Party that, hey, you shouldn't be there. Who are you? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, they're just coming at me, no reason. I'm just like shocked, because at the time I'm thinking I'm 44 years old, I believe at the time. And I'm saying, what the hell's going on here? We're all Democrats, whatever. I go to the Democratic Party, I go to all this funding, and they're just shutting the door in my face because they had already pre-selected their candidate. And the election comes out. I noticed that the developer who owns the city, he has invested over almost $1 million, if not more, actually in $1 million in other expenditures that he had to do. I believe I ended up spending like $4,000 in this recall election. So basically in the recall election, what it is the people have to reject the candidate that's in the seat. Then they have a choice between me or this lady named Jimson. And of course, nobody knew who I was. And, she had already done all the primary campaign and done all that stuff. And, I did what I could in the time that I had. So it was basically, I was fighting against time. And, the election comes up, boom, this lady wins overwhelmingly, because people were tired of the incumbent and they got rid of the incumbent, and she wins office. And so at that point, I was like, okay, well, and I really worked with her, and I was like, okay, I'm going to work with her and just kind of be the better, the better man, and wish her luck. And I did. I called her and I said, congratulations, and right? The political thing. Lo and behold, this lady runs for office and had no idea what she needed to do in the district. She had no platform. She was running off of pure popularity. She had no agenda whatsoever. So basically, I was helping her behind the scenes. And, everybody knows the area of the city that I live in is one of the original areas, and it's one of the oldest areas of the city. Like I said, I predate the city's actual birth. So, I'm getting all this work done, and I'm telling her, hey, you need to get this done over here. Basically, I was like the eyes and the ears and telling her, oh, this is messed up. Let's get over here. Let's work this over here. And my area had been neglected, and a lot of the property tax money that came from my area went to the benefit to the growth of the city. And nobody had complained about that but me, from what I understood, because I was the one that asked to see the city ledger and see where they're spending this money. And so I got a lot of stuff done, even being out of office. And then come to find out, this woman was a former bank robber. This is not slander. This is not rumor. This lady was a convicted bank robber, and she was eligible to run. So after 2 years of occupying the seat, because my thing is, I'm not a career politician. I just wanted to occupy the seat as a founding father, which is what I am. I'm a city elder because I've been here longer than most people, especially people my age. There really isn't too many people my age that have been here as long as I have. And I was going to go find a candidate and then go. I did my civic duty, and this woman gets bounced out of the seat. I mean, within the next 2 years, and the lady that she replaced came right back on the seat, because whatever the allegations against the lady was not true. Because when I would talk about the previous incumbent, I would say the factual stuff, like, you are under investigation. I didn't say if she was guilty or whatever. I just said, right now, you're under investigation for corruption. That's how bad it was here. So after that came out, we find out that this lady's a bank robber, and I run again in that election. And, it was just shocking to everybody that this lady was who she was. And, did fairly well in that election, did, a lot better than I did the first time. But, the people had made their choice. And, the lady that was the problem came right back on the seat, and she's on the seat this very day. And doesn't give a damn about the city. She works for the developer. She takes, money from the developer. This lady's very corrupted. A lot of people know it. But again, nobody is understanding what is going on because they're too busy trying to make a living. So while people are looking this way, they're getting, basically fucked up the ass this way. You know what I mean? And they don't even realize it. When they see things ain't getting done, they're not getting done. How can you tell your people warehouse, $9 an hour warehouse jobs is good jobs? And that's what she does to her people. And here in this city, I believe we're a sanctuary city. And, we have a lot of illegal, I wouldn't say a lot, but there's a known illegal people here from the border of Mexico. Take it however you want to take that. And they just want to work. And this lady helps exploit her own people for the benefit of Amazon, PG&E, and all these warehouses that we have out here, right? And that's the job she brings. And I'm going to tell you guys this. You can always tell what a city thinks of you by the jobs they bring to that city. And this city went from a military community of a major Air Force base to a warehouse empire. And that's where we're at right now. But I didn't stop campaigning, which is why I did better the second time I ran. But after the second time I ran, I was done because I realized that an average person is not only going against either the Democratic or the Republican machine that is controlled by a boss, they're going against whatever developer they're going against. So I'm going up against millions of dollars at a local level. But even when I lost the first one, and a lot of people, you could go on YouTube and you can see it to this very day, you will see me in my garage. And I was using, remember that Movie Maker on, I think it was Windows XP at the time? I was using XP and I think Windows Vista. But whatever the Movie Maker thing was there's my dog Belle, famous dog Belle. Whatever that was, that's what I used. And I would use that as my voice, and I was calling out things within the city. And people just, at first, I had no viewers, nobody was looking. And I don't do it for the views. I do it to bring light to the community. And all the politicians used to laugh at me. Be like, oh yeah, nobody watches that, whatever. But then I noticed that I would do a show in my garage now. This is where I started. And they would quote some of the very things that I said, but they said they don't watch the show. And then more and more people started coming on and, and kind of, seeing what I was doing. And then I started getting into podcasting. And then I realized with the podcasting, I can do podcasting and video casting. But at this time, that was the time Demetra was doing her like video chat, FaceTime things, whatever, with her friends. And one day I was on the internet. I don't know if it was Facebook. I forget what platform we were using at the time. And, I saw Demetra talking, like some real heavy shit. And then Demetra was like, and then so I, but I noticed she was so good at what she did. So I call her and I say, hey, Demetra, hey, you need to come out here, with me and let's just do this show. I said, people need to hear your message and get it out there and just get this message out there. And she's like, no, it took me over a year to berate this woman and tell her, come on, we got to do this, but, at the time she was going through, she was married at the time. She's going through some ups and downs in her relationship. But, I kept asking her, hey, why don't you come do this show with me? Why don't you come do this show with me? Let's do a show. Let's just do this, because I started expanding and expanding. And so what happened was we created the Demetra K Show. Well, the show had a lot of incarnation because it was my show and it started. And I said, well, she's a much better speaker than I am. And really, if you guys really think about it, my video show is actually Friday, Free Flow Fridays. That is actually my show. And but Demetra was so good at what she did. So we started creating the Demetra K Show. That way she had her own platform so she can still do what she wanted to do without having to have me there doing what I want to do with my show instead of doing one show. So we said, let's split it up and do this. And so we split it up, even though, people were getting confused because it was like, well, is this the same show? No, it's not the same show. Because if you noticed, if you go to YouTube, you can see it. You can see how raw we were as we started doing the shows. And I love production, and that's what I'm doing here, the production. I love doing the production part of it because, that's where the artistic part of it is. Getting in front of a camera is not hard to do. Anybody can do it, pretty much. How you speak, that's very hard, and Demetra's very good at that. And but the production I do. And the funny thing is, I showed her how to do this program on her phone. Then she started doing her own little video clips. And you can, if you go to her page on YouTube, you can actually see those clips of her doing like 3-minute videos, maybe 5 minutes at the most. And you can see Demetra K. And she's like, da 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 da. And I saw how good she was. And that, I think that comes from her basic upbringing and how she was raised, and also her background in public relations, because she knows how to speak to people, how to talk to people. She really helped me out significantly in my campaign and polished me up and got rid of my idiosyncrasies, like when I'm saying, and things like that. It's just funny because even in my CLEP, if those of you guys who have challenge courses, one of the hardest courses to challenge is speech because it's a 2-part test. I passed that. So I can turn it on and I can turn it off. And if you guys know, I have 11 degrees right now. I qualified for a 12th degree. So I'm fairly educated. I mean, I'm an educated fool, as a lot of people would say, which is fine. I don't mind saying that. But that's pretty much how Demetra and I started. And then I basically, if you look at the show, you'll see one show where I'm more dominant, and that's my show. If I'm the dominant one on the show, that is my show. But if you see the show where Demetra's more dominant and I'm the foil, that would be Demetra's show. And we just broke it up, and basically that's how we got started. And Demetra would be here on Sundays and Fridays like clockwork, and we would go into the garage. If it was too cold, we'd come into the house and we would shoot it up. And you can see, how we're doing it. And, I used to love the production, and some of the topics she brought to it was amazing. And that's basically how we started this whole journey. And if you look at our videos, if you go to YouTube, there's we did a lot of videos, and those videos used to take me at least 40 minutes to an hour and a half to do, because sometimes, the program wouldn't work right. I got to use another program. I use Filmora, which is a very, very popular program. And I use Sony Studio, which is a very big one. And then the COVID hits, and, Demetra got her fiance, and then she ends up moving to Houston, and which was okay because of COVID. We found a new way to do the show where we're separated and stuff. And then, wherever she goes, I pretty much follow because we're a team, because I discovered her I don't care what anybody says, I discovered her first. So I don't have a problem with her leaving. I really don't. I want you guys to listen to this. I have no problem with Demetra leaving. However, somebody's got to pay for that contract, okay? Because she's very talented, and I saw that. I was the first to invest in her, and we did that. And if you look at some of the videos, you'll see that some of the videos are the same as the podcast, because I wanted to maximize our reach. And we were averaging, I'd say, about 11,000 viewers when we did the podcast. That's just the podcast. If we did the video, that was add another couple hundred, couple thousand, depending on what the topic was. So, we've come a long way, and now, we're both on the war zone. I don't mind being on the show. It's a really great show. It's a really great opportunity. But I'm more of a behind the scenes type guy. I like to do the producing, and I like to find talent. Like I just found this young lady named Tamara Johnson-Sheely. And she has a message that reminds me of Demetra. She has a presence like Demetra. She's just so bold in her statements and stuff. And, we just decided in how we're going to do our shows that not only, I still do my political stuff, and I do a political watchdog stuff here. Because a lot of people think when I'm doing the other things that I'm distracted and I'm not watching what's going on, when I really actually am. So I haven't given that up, but we've also decided that we need to put a message out there that's going to help our people, and that's what we've been doing. And, I've been rereading The Message to the Black Man, because it does have a blueprint on what we need to do, and it just makes sense. And, I'm still a very big political guy. So if you notice that if we're on the show and you see me on the show, Demetra is very knowledgeable in the community. I mean, she knows a lot of stuff, but I'm more of a political junkie. So when you want to know the political answer, I know how to give it to you, or the historical answer. I know how to do that, because that was my first love in school. I loved history. I loved reading. I loved encyclopedias, all that good stuff like that. But that's pretty much how we started. And, we're, even though she's in Houston, we are still pretty much making it work the best way we can until it doesn't, work anymore. But I've known her for over 30 years. There's a whole lot of great people I've met along this journey. I mean, Damian Jones is one of them. Huey Newton is another one. The 5-star general, that guy there is just totally, that's an experience. I mean, he's very, when I look at the show and I critique the show, you see the street guy, you see the educated black woman, and then you see the technical guy, which is me. I come off as the technical type nerdy guy, black guy. And I think our dynamics work really, really well in the show. Sometimes, I'm not on there, because I've had dental problems that I have to address. Not that I have a raggedy mouth, ladies. I don't have a raggedy mouth. Very nice stuff like that. It's just, some things be happening. Got to get some work done. But that's pretty much how me and Demetra Kaye basically started. And we're going to keep pushing our message and getting the message out there to her people. And again, exceptional family. If you look at her nephews and nieces, just about all of them actually followed in what the generation before them did. I mean, they're all fairly, from what I know, they're all exceptional. They're very, very much so. Her little big brother, I call him Professor Smitty, exceptional children, geniuses, and, good parents. The mom is an author, nurse. I mean, she has the whole beautiful. And oh my God, this woman is gorgeous. If you ever, saw Rest Her Soul. The father, met him, knowledgeable, really into Islam. He's just fierce in his belief. He takes no prisoners when it comes to young men being young men and dealing with stuff. So, like I said, I was very impressed with that. But that's pretty much how Demetra and I met. It was funny because if you saw Demetra here in California, you would see me. And some people were thinking, oh, wait a minute, are they a couple or whatever? No. I would choke Demetra out if we had ever dated. There's no way she and I would, no, there's just no way. I would literally choke her. And plus, I've been trying to get at the little sister, so, no luck, but I got to keep trying. But her fiance Al, cool guy, love him to death. Got my cats over there fighting. Cool guy, he's got a gym. I mean, he really got a gym and a woman that'll support you and back you. Demetra has an exceptional. I mean, the whole thing is awesome, and I really do feel that the prophecy that was said by her mother, that she was going to do this type of entity and work, and it manifested itself. Because me and she and I will sit there and talk and be like, remember, your mom had told you this and da-da-da. And she was like, yeah, and you just see the growth and the progress, and you can see it in our videos. You can see it in how we have expanded in our influence. And getting back to that, politically, in my area, I am a serious political influencer here. So if you're running for office in my area, you got one of two things you want to do. Either don't piss me off and don't be set on my radar, and you're going to be fine. But if you got a lot of bullshit with you, I'm going to call it out. And that's what I kind of do. So you guys done fighting? Yeah, you got two boy cats and they just trying to do the dominant thing. It's really, really interesting. But yeah, that's a quick story of how Demetra and I started our journey, and we're going to continue until, we don't continue anymore. The COVID kind of changed things up, but I see in the future, all of us, the 5-star and stuff, we all getting together and shooting, videos and stuff. We're still going to do a lot of traveling, and, it's just going to be that way, for a minute until our people are waking up. And we are, I do believe, making a difference, because we have run across so many people that have said they've watched Demetra's show, they've watched our show. You've got other influencers that saw Demetra and she's expanding her brand, and that's what it's about. That's what we were supposed to do. So that's a little bit about how we got started.